Hi, David here, CEO and founder of the Freedom Founders Mastermind community. A lot of people know me to be relatively outspoken on what I believe are certain principles in life. A lot of people don't like that because I'm contrarian. I typically speak against what the herd mentality or the groupthink is thinking. Nobody wants to have somebody rain on their parade, and I get that. I'm not a soothsayer. I'm not a predictor of the markets any more than anybody else is, but I have been around long enough decades, and navigated my own capital base, primarily through tangible assets, real estate, and my business for a couple of decades when I converted that equity back into tangible assets. I've gone through enough market cycles to understand how the cycles work and how I can not predict or time the markets, but how I can roll with the larger waves of the market. And I think that's what most people don't understand. Being contrarian is hard to do in life. When everybody else is seemingly hitting home runs over here and over there in whatever they're speculating in, because that's where the market is at a certain high point in a bull market, it's hard to resist that. It's hard not to want to jump in with them. It's hard not to want to play the traditional game where it's like, how much money can I tax mitigate, tax defer by doing 401ks and cash balance plans, because that's where it's at. Or how about captive insurance or conservation easements, or finding all these niche areas rather than just focusing on, number one, having a profitable business, being disciplined about your lifestyle, and then taking the excess capital, instead of putting it in lockboxes like 401ks or trying to play moonshots in the market when it's going up. How about figuring out how to be a long-term investor? Wherever you want to do it. I do it in tangible assets. I do it in real estate. I've done it for over 4 decades. I know how the markets work. I know how they cycle. Most people, if they're not enough decades of life experience, have not gone through a full cycle or barely gone through a full cycle. It's understanding how these markets work, and particularly whatever asset class you decide to invest in. You need to become your own expert in that. That doesn't mean you do it by yourself, but you've got to find other people that you find there's a philosophical commonality, and then dig in and learn. You've got to do this as much as you do in your own technical expertise, the CE that you take to become more proficient and better at what you do. That's important. But the piece that a lot of people miss is what I call the inflection point in your wealth building. Instead of being able to really move the needle with your wealth building, most people abdicate that to third parties and Wall Street and watch it just do kind of a up and down, very, very stagnant model, and wonder why, when they're in their 50s and 60s and approaching 70, why they only have this much capital and they have virtually no passive income, because they never learned how to create it. Passive income through other assets where you don't have to go to work every day is what sets you free. Why not learn how to do that when you're younger? Don't wait until you're trying to exit. Don't wait till you're selling your business and say, oh, now I've got the equity. What do I do with it? It's a little bit too late to learn then. And now you're sitting on a potential minefield, because if you make a mistake at that point in your life, what are you going to do? Go back and hunker down and work like you did when you were in your 30s and 40s? Don't think so. I see this happen every time there's a market cycle correction. People who thought they were in good shape had their money in one aspect of the market, and the market took the turn, the correction, they dropped 35, 40, 45, 50%, and they had to go back to work. Not a great day. Learn how to invest your capital the same way you learned how to be as diligent as you are in your professional practice. If you do that, you can do that. It's not too complicated, but you need to find people who have done that. Find people where you can fold time, collapse time, because you don't have all the time in the world. Time is a commodity that's going to run out on all of us, and the sooner we adopt the philosophy of we can't buy back more time, you'll make more of the time you have, and make sure that every effort you're putting into your life is focused on freedom, not when you're 65 or 70, but how about gaining freedom as you go right now? That's the key to life, enjoying the ride as you go through it. Stay focused on your freedom. I'll see you next time.